have you been able to witness any of the bonding that is a part of this trip? Marco Sturm wanted it to be a bonding trip for the fellas. Have you been able to see any of that?
No, I mean that's really for the players. What they did was so the first day that we got down here, they had a team poker tournament that took place at one of the casinos here in town. And it wasn't just the players; it was the staff, it was some of the media relations people, and they scattered everybody onto those tables. So it wasn't like players at one, coaches at another, staff at one. Everybody was kind of mixed up, and everybody said it was a terrific time. I guess Victor Arvidsson was your winner in the poker tournament.
Okay.
And then the players had a chance to do something away from the coaches and the staff, another player bonding event that they had. And then yesterday was back to practice, and I talked to David Pastrnak. He's like, as much fun as we had, time to refocus.
Hold'em or blackjack, or do we know what the game of choice was for the
Hold'em? No, it was Hold'em.
All right.
That's what they ended up playing. So, and like there's a bunch of, like on the team playing, there are a couple of card games that are going on, and David Pastrnak is a part of one of them. So I asked him, I said, did you have an advantage going into this tournament? And he said, not really. I guess he said I had a couple of really good hands early on, but I got bounced out pretty early. Didn't have my A poker game.
Gerard Mayo used to like to play cards with the fellas on the plane after a loss. Is Marco Sturm, is he playing or no?
No. Okay. Marco's at the front. The boys are near the back.
Yeah, be careful. His money's not as long as those players' money. You don't want to get in those games.
Is the start that these guys have gotten off to surprising to you?
A little bit. I think it's, part of it is the results, Craig. And I think part of it is how well Marco Sturm has gotten the guys to play that the way he wants to, the structure he's wanted to play with, the speed that he wants to play with, and how quickly as a group, remember there are a lot of new players and some new faces, and the way that the leadership is structured is a little bit different. So I think that what we've seen across these first four games has been maybe a little bit more encouraging, but I think part of that is that heading in, you didn't know exactly what to expect and how high the expectations were. I know that the Bruins felt like if their goaltending, if their defense, if their special teams came back online, that they could compete for a playoff spot. And that's certainly been the case here through four games. Now the test changes significantly. You've got a long trip. As far as the time change is concerned, you get the 3-hour time change you're going to have to deal with here tonight. And you've got 3 and 4 against some really good teams. And that last team in Utah may not be as established as Colorado and Vegas you're going to see at the start, but they're going to be sitting and waiting for you. And that face-off is 2 hours prior to the game that the Bruins play in Denver.
Judd, when do we start to say, like, okay, because the Bruins have looked good these first couple of games, but when do we know, like, all right, is this for real? Is this who they really are? Like, when's that kind of point of the season where you would say, okay, this is where we will realize
it's
what
a playoff team.
Yeah, like what this team is?
That's a really good question. When do we establish that? When do we know that? I think for most teams, once you get toward, I would say early November, and obviously a lot of people are going to be talking about, okay, what is this team like when you hit Thanksgiving in the United States? Because that's usually the marker. If you're at or in a playoff position at that point, the odds are pretty good you're going to be able to make it into the playoffs. So I think we've got a little ways to go. I think we need a longer sample size to be able to say that.
Judd, some people upset that Korpisalo was in goal and that loss to the Lightning. They were surprised by that. What were your feelings?
Courtney, I think I understand, why people may have thought that, but in the bigger picture, especially with the schedule that they have, you need to be able to keep him sharp. And you also need to be able to push Swayman. So if you look in the bigger picture, let's say you started Swayman in that game against the Tampa Bay Lightning. You were going to definitely start Swayman here tonight against the Vegas Golden Knights. So that means, and then you'd probably start him again against Colorado. So that means you wouldn't have had Korpisalo play. So go back, he won the game against the Blackhawks. He wouldn't have played until Sunday against the Utah Mammoth. So I think that that's one of the things that they looked at, and by that same token, I think he earned the opportunity to start. He probably should have been the number one star in that game against the Blackhawks. I know in talking to some people who put together those stars with the saves that he made, especially in overtime, to give the Bruins an opportunity. I think the Bruins will tell you that the way that Korpisalo played allowed the Bruins to win that game against the Blackhawks and get that overtime goal from Fraser Minten. So not necessarily surprised. I think that was probably something that they mapped out very early and that they went with.
Judd, when you look at the way that they're going to do it this year with the Bruins, are your expectations that we'll see more of like I don't want to say 50-50, but is it going to be more like, 55-45 with Swayman, Korpisalo, or are they going to get to the point where it's more along the line 70-30?
Difficult to tell, Wiggy. I think, and it's a little bit different because, when you look at this schedule, it's a little bit more compressed than it has been in the past because of the Olympics. So you're going to have a lot of these segments of 3 and 4, 4 and 6. We're just into the season and the Bruins are right in the mix of all those games. And I think the other thing that was clear in listening to the general manager, Don Sweeney, after last season and before this season started, he felt Joonas Korpisalo should have played more last year. Part of that was on merit. And so I think that based on what's happening with both Jeremy Swayman and Joonas Korpisalo, I think that's going to sort of influence how often you see both. Where the split is and what that sweet spot is, I'm not sure. If I had to guess, it's Swayman somewhere in, you mentioned 55 games, somewhere between 55 and 60 would be my guess.
As a member of the Bruins media, Judd, would you would you embrace being challenged to a game of shinny by the the Bruins coaches as the Celtics media were here in Boston the other day?
I can tell you, Greg, if I'm out there playing shinny, it wouldn't be much of a game. I saw the Celtics coaches what they destroyed the media.
Yes, they
did.
Yes, they did.
I'm pretty sure that
they
the
owned them.
coaches here.
Let me tell you something. They owned them.
Yeah,
they absolutely owned them.
I jump in on your team though in the media, so I'd probably be able to help you guys out. That's why
Wiggy. If I got Wiggy, Wiggy, what position you playing? You playing center? You playing
No,
wing?
I'm a right wing. I'm a power forward. I don't play much defense.
Yeah, Greg is too, so you got to figure that out.
We throw
on the same line. Who's centering these guys' pucks?
We throw him in net when we want to stuff that baby up, if you know what I'm saying.
Oh dear.
Greg's an ankle bender, so he's not going to be on the first line.
Really? Oh, I'm an ankle bender.
He'll be on the fifth line.
Played over 30 hockey for 10 years and won the league five of 7 years when I was playing.
Was you ever
seriously,
an over 30 MVP?
I was. Yes, I was.
Like I was.
They used to honestly, I'd set myself up right in front of the net, and just like Cam Newell, they called it my office.
Hockey is the only thing in Greg's life that he's been over 30 in.
Well, I think we're good for 2 goals. Who's playing net for us?
Probably Shine.
Yeah,
I think we would throw
Yeah, Razor's a friend of the program.
Oh,
That's
true.
Yeah.
Technically a member of the media now, too.
Yeah, we got Razor in
Yeah.
that.
We can't afford him.
Oh, no. Razor, Razor, even the alumni games, he doesn't play goal.
That's right. He likes to play out.
Oh, we can get Reggie Lemlin. He stacked the pads. So first line could be me and Bergie, and then you guys can figure out the rest from there.
Actually, you could probably throw Tuke in there. I don't know if Tuke could throw on a pad.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot about Tuca. You got Chara on.
Yeah,
he's not in the
that's
media.
right.
Chara's
Well,
not-
at least you guys would chip in a couple of goals, but I think we'd probably allow 50.
All right. Well, what's up for you in Vegas? Taking in any shows or anything like that, or just work?
No, first day got out here, Brick, Stevie De Silva, our camera guy, Adam Peller, and I went out and played a little golf, and then headed over to the Aria to take in a cigar. Great name for a bar, by the way. Here it was called Alibi. That's a perfect name for a bar.
That's a perfect name.
No shows
Isn't
at
it?
the Sphere?
No, I think somebody from the traveling party headed over there because I think the Wizard of Oz is playing.
Yeah.
And I heard it's supposed to be amazing. But
Yeah.
didn't
Make
head
a
over to
ton
the
of money.
Sphere.
Vegas is great for one night and one night only, and then you have to get out of there.
Yeah.
It's just not. For me personally, I don't. And people say, "Oh, the food is great, restaurants great." I just don't. I don't love the whole Vegas thing, but
No, it's like 36 to 48 hours. Come in, feel like a king or a queen, and
right.
get the hell out of here.
And then get out of there. All right, Judd. Well, we will be watching this evening, although 10 o'clock late for us, but and we will talk to you again next week.
All right. Take care.